The Great Lock In is a social media challenge that is running throughout many of the social media platforms. I heard about it once or twice and got a gist of what it was, and it made me think about my very first Great Lock In. Now, this was way before, well, this is my first time hearing of the Great Lock In this year. So, of course, it was before I heard of this thing called the Great Lock In, but it was well over a decade ago. A friend and I had gone to a conference in Florida. And when we came back, we decided that we were going to get things done. And we partnered together over a 90-day time frame to combat some of these things that have been on our list. Now, for me personally, some of the things on my list have been on my list for 2 to 3 years. Now, with this 90-day lock in that we did, I was able to get 15 of the 22 things that were on my list done in less than 45 days. So, well before I was halfway through with the 90-day term or time frame we had set out to do, I had finished more than half of the things on the list. And so when I began hearing people talk about this great lock in, of course, it piqued my interest. And I wanted to come to you and talk about it. I'll stem from the space of what that looked like for me. And you can call her my accountability partner. She was actually a peer, also a successful business owner at that time and friend, and we called each other every night. Listen, we were locked in. At I remember the time frame being around 9 o'clock when my daughter was asleep and everything was quiet in the home, and it was a good time for her as well. And we would talk about what we had gotten done throughout the day. Now, this was absolutely amazing for a few reasons. Number one, prior to this 90-day time frame. Now, at this time, I owned a successful brick and mortar service based business with 12 employees. So I already had a measure of discipline because what I see or what I predict is that many people who have not developed levels of discipline will set out to do this 90-day lock in and fall short. Now, many of those people who will fall short will be the same people who at the beginning of the year had, bigger goals that they were going to do. And that is because so much of what's transpiring in our life is based on our habits. It's based on what's going on in our subconscious programming. Now, the great lock in, what the person is setting out to do for the great lock in will be what they're consciously saying that they will do. Now, the things that I was able to get done in that shorter amount of time than I was 2 years prior, number one was because I had accountability. I don't know if there's this limiting belief that you have to do everything on your own, but I completely disagree. My mastermind, Exceptional Coach Mastermind, one of the things I do with my members is they have accountability partners. And they set up their own time frames for connecting with each other and all the good things. Because although there is a huge level of accountability as a coach, we're meeting once a month. They may find the need to have a different level of connectivity towards what they're doing so that they can maybe 10x instead of just 3 to 5x what they're wanting to have done or get done or the results they want to see in their business. So I believe in accountability partners, and so many successful people at the level that they are successful are struggling to get to their next level because they're attempting to do it alone. So that's one of the reasons why it works so well. The second reason why it works so well is because 2 years before that 2 year time frame later, I was a different individual. I had stepped into a new identity that was able to handle that. 2 years prior to that, I may have had the mindset that said, I don't need that level of accountability. But we got so much done. And actually now, even when I'm working with clients, we work in 90-day time frames. So this was absolutely a big, huge reminder or activation for me when I believe I heard about three people mention this great lock-in. I did a little more research and I was like, wow, this is so similar, or it reminds me, even if it's not the way that they're saying it should be done, but it reminds me of my first time really focusing on 90-day intervals. I also have a client at this present time who, um, at the beginning of the year, when she looked at her income, she had dropped about $30,000 in her business. From March until now, she is now back on track. She tripled her weekly income in 1 week of coaching with me and also tripled her investment in 1 week. Guys, it was because of accountability. Yes, absolutely. Actually, we did identity shifting work. That's how she started with me at the beginning of the year, within the first quarter of the year. And after that, she moved into a more long-term time frame of coaching and consulting with me. But the first thing where she had the biggest transformation was within an identity shifting session. And I shared with you all what changed for me to be able to even do the 90-day list and get so much done was my identity. I had an identity shift. And so, for people who are wanting to be successful in this 90-day lock in, there has to be an identity shift that occurs. If not, it will be very similar to setting goals at the beginning of the year in January and falling off by March. Speaking of the beginning of the year, I don't know how many of you follow some Hebraic or spiritual practices, but the Hebrew calendar at this very time that we're in now, it is the beginning of the year for them. And I keep up with this because what I do personally at the beginning of at the beginning of the Hebrew year, I began planning my new year. Now I didn't know that it was beginning of the new year according to the Hebraic calendar when I started this, because this was well over a decade ago. It just felt right to me to take from, well, I used to do it in August, so now it's around August, September. It just felt right to me to begin planning my next new year. I didn't know that I was synchronized with the Hebraic calendar, which is really God's calendar. So I absolutely love sharing this story because of the level of alignment. So if you're considering doing this great lock in, perfect timing, let's just take on new year energy. Can you embody that? Can you embody very similar energy to the energy you have in January according to the Gregorian calendar, as you would do it now? Like, have that same energy that you would have in January now, embody that. And one of the ways you can do it is to know that actually this is the beginning of the new year according to God's calendar, right? And so your habits are going to make a difference in how you proceed forward in this 90-day lock in. This is great time also to reassess what you do with your time. That's what I want you to do this very first day. I want you to take a look, maybe over the next 2 or 3 days, and just pay attention. Don't change anything. Pay attention to how you spend your time. I guarantee you're going to find gaps in your time where you could be spending it on things that are actually going to change the trajectory of your business, right? So I want you to reassess your time. I also want you to be intentional about looking at your vision. Now, for those of you who are saying, I don't have a vision, listen, you're not alone. The number of people who start businesses without a vision, their vision is just to start the business, which is not a vision, right? Your vision is this long term um, goal, if you would, that you embody over time, right? Your vision is always a lot further out than where you are now. and you are stepping into the identity, the habits, the mindsets in order to be a match for that thing, right? And when people go into business without having a vision, they normally are all over the place. They normally burn their business down a couple times, start over. They normally find themselves copying things that are out of alignment with who they really are. Because your vision also includes your values. And that means that you're attracted to, you are embodying, and you're doing things that are in alignment with your values. And if you don't have a vision, the chances that that's not occurring is very likely. And what this normally does is it causes you to waste time. So, number one, put your vision in front of you every single day. If you do not have a vision, you need to be in my Destiny by Design lifestyle course. It is the very beginning module inside 3D Success Academy. So it just depends on where you are in the grand scheme of all of this. But it helps you to create, get clear, and align with a clear vision, all while making more money, right? So put your vision in front of you every single day. Listen, you're going to need a routine that makes you brilliant. My client, I think I left off with her story. She was the young lady that tripled her weekly income in a week and tripled her results with me. Listen, within 6 months, well, I don't know, from March to September, the beginning of September, not sure when you're going to be listening to this, she not only began creating her 6 figure year income again, right? She's back on track for 6 figures, which is where she was before her business dropped down to by 30,000. And she also hired her first person. And listen, guys, that happened within less than 6 months because we set a 90-day list, which is why I'm sharing about this particular client. It was in a 90-day time frame. She's been working with me this year for about 6 months, but setting that intention and hiring the new person happened in a 90-day time frame. But hear me on this. She had been saying she was going to hire someone for about 5 years, and it hadn't happened. Listen, accountability is so much bigger than most people could even fathom. They've been saying they're going to do it every single year. We're in the last quarter of the year now. The last quarter. So, the great lock in. Are you in for the great lock in? Maybe you know, like, I'm in for this great lock in, but I need support. I'm going to list ways that you can connect with me in the comments, but here are two that I mentioned: 3D Success Academy for women in business. Absolutely amazing. It is a self paced opportunity that also gives you close proximity to me, where we do live coaching once a month, and it is a group setting. It is our 3D Success community. I've had clients to join the academy more than one time and get something new every single time. That's an absolutely amazing space to get locked in. And the beautiful thing, it starts with the Destiny by Design module where you're creating your vision. The second thing is Exceptional Coach Mastermind. That is my 8 month coaching opportunity. We began our first initial call at the end of September. That is application only. There are even deeper levels of one to one time with me. That is a group setting, but it includes private one to one time as well. And we begin if your application is approved, and approval is basically knowing that you are in alignment with the opportunity to be an exceptional coach mastermind, and that where you are in your business, the stage of growth that you're at is in alignment with the level of that mastermind. The very first thing that we do is about a 75-minute call where we do an assessment to get really clear. That's knocking out that part where you needed to assess your time, and you get a blueprint to begin so that your level of focus and results as we work as a group are even deeper. That will be our first interaction together before we meet as a group. Listen, the great lock in. Are you locked in? Look at your habits, your behaviors. Listen, so much can happen in 90 days. I think sometimes that year long perspective, I think you should have a vision for your year, but having it in intervals helps so much because people often take for granted how much time they have left when there is an entire year, and they often fall off. Listen, if you don't have accountability, you need to see. You need accountability. You need high level accountability to be in a space of possibility, abundance, strategy. Listen, that's my take on today. The great lock in. I'm locked in. Are you locked in? Check in. Okay. Peace and abundance.